cutting and moving logs for on your own little sawmill is quite a challenge because the logs weigh a literal metric ton, if not more. A small sawmill costs a few $1,000s, but a skid steer or an excavator that can carry a 1-ton log is easily 10 times that. So here's what I use to get and move my logs. First, the regular stuff you also need for firewood. 2 chainsaws, a big one for the trunk and a small one for the branches. Brand doesn't matter. Skip chain, regular chain, it doesn't matter. Type of fuel, it doesn't matter. Flat file for the rakers, round file for the teeth, depth gauges if you're feeling fancy. I also like this thing. It's called a farmer's hammer in Dutch, and it's an all-in-one tool for when you encounter fences, nails and wires and stuff. Some combination of wedges, more is better, an axe to pound said wedges, and maybe cut something, you never know how many chainsaws you get stuck, and some crates, preferably with holes in them, because as you can see this traps dirt and probably also moisture. Then some things specifically for moving logs around. First is the cant hook, absolute necessity as you will see later. Then some chains with hooks or eyes or whatever floats your boat, and straps. To get the logs into the trailer, I use some beams with a piece of angle iron on it, so it doesn't also get pulled into the trailer together with the log. That said, let's take a look at the trailer.
So as a bit of context, I will be building my own house from trees that I cut myself. And the house only needs like 100 trees, depending on the size of course. So that's why I have this small logging operation going. Pull my trailer with a chicken, of course. Oh, I'm joking. Just a little tractor, but you can use a truck or a car or whatever.
I bought this double axle trailer secondhand and got a cheap boat winch from the internet. And that's the setup. But as you can see, I still need to mount the winch somewhere where I don't hit my hands. And that doesn't seem to be a very good place. So I have to create my own. Alright, let's cut some trees. This first tree has a fun story. My girlfriend and I put out some flyers around in the neighborhood telling people that we are searching for trees for our building project and that if they have a tree that they would like to get rid of, that they can call us. Well, this one person didn't think much of it because, well, they didn't need to get rid of any trees. But literally a few days later, this tree fell down. And then there wasn't a storm or anything, it just randomly decided to fall. So she felt it was meant to be, and we got the trunk of the tree. She got the firewood from the branches and the waste parts of the trunk when we were done sawing. Here's my dad outworking me while I struggle with the trunk. This was a fun father and son time, I can recommend it. Anyway, after getting rid of all the small branches and the firewood, the logs needed to be loaded. I put the chain on the ground along the log and make a right corner at the point I want the chain to grab the log. Then you roll the log over the parallel part of the chain and you connect it. And just start winching. This works, but it's very heavy. Later we made an important upgrade that made it a lot lighter. For unloading, it was as easy as tying the trunk to another tree with a chain and driving away. Outside of falling the tree, this is by far the most satisfying and fun part. Moving the trunks to their resting spot was also a little bit of a learning curve. As you can see, it is absolutely impossible without the cant hook, but I'm also being a bit stupid here. I tried turning the logs around the corner by blocking one side, and that kinda works, but it makes the logs very dirty and it's super heavy. A way better way that I've since learned is to roll it onto a piece of pipe or something in the middle and balance it. Once it's roughly balanced on a pipe, rock or branch or whatever, you can just turn it by hand. In the end, this one tree got us 4 logs of about 3 meters long. The second tree came from someone that just had a huge dead tree that they wanted to get rid of. We thought it would still be good enough inside, as it's an 80 centimeter wide oak. For our American viewers, that's about the size of a full-size fridge. But as it turns out, it's full of worms, so we can only really use it for concrete formwork and that kind of stuff. Which is fine, I guess. That also needs to happen. It was a monster. I had a friend, a neighbor, and a local high school student helping me, and it was still 4 days of work if I remember correctly. On the other hand, this tree gave us 5 enormous logs, way more than double the weight of the last tree, which took 2 days. So in terms of hours per unit of wood, this was kinda similar, although probably a little bit better even. But if and when I would do such a deal again, I would probably make sure that the owners themselves cut the firewood. That was way more work than I had anticipated. With this tree, our old method of just winching the logs into the trailer would have been completely impossible. So what we did instead was to put some posts underneath the logs. And it was a bit finicky, but once we got the hang of it, it worked like a charm. The third and the last tree for now was some kind of pine with a bug that would probably kill it. Although I don't know if it actually has this bug or had this bug, or that the owner just said it so he had a good reason to give us the tree. This couple was so nice. Really, I never felt more connected to the village as when I was getting these trees. The people, but also when I was driving in my little tractor, waving to everyone in the village. When you're on a tractor, everyone waves back. It's so awesome. There's this one guy that for at least the last 20 years drives through town on his old blue tractor on Saturday to visit his mom. And everyone waves at him. And now I was driving through town on an old blue tractor, waving at everyone, and everyone waved back. I cannot tell you how happy this made me. Again, I can absolutely recommend. Anyway, this tree was fun to load. It was staying up on its branches, so we could just put the trailer underneath and cut the log off. It was awesome. Of course, the last one still had to be loaded with the winch and some kind of rollers, but it all worked out. We have an electric Woodland Mills HM126. Here is a little sneak peek. I was planning on making little sticks for in between the boards for when they dry, but I just couldn't bring myself to cut up these beautiful boards.
Oh my, look at it. So nice. Really nice.
In one of the next videos, I will show you how we assembled the sawmill and how it works and do a long-term review. So if you like that, I'm sure you know what to do. I hope to see you in the next video.